Good morning, everybody. Well, it's morning for me because I got up at 5:30 a.m. so that I could film this. And then I got ready and made some coffee because coffee is a need. It's Sunday, 5:30 a.m. wake up call. So basically, I'm filming this for the third time because if I can give one piece of advice during this Q&A, do not try to film YouTube videos on your phone. It's a nightmare. Things go south. I'm not even going to get into it. Basically, I've literally spent a full 24 hours redoing and refilming everything just for my computer and phone to be little brats. So, let's do this. So we're going to do a Q&A and then we're going to do some baking. Going to make some chocolate chip protein cookie bars. Show you guys what they look like before we start, and I'm going to show you all the ingredients I'm going to use, and then I'm going to bake them with you, tell you all the measurements, all the good stuff. And they're really yummy because I already made some because I already filmed this and I had them for a snack last night. They're so good. Super good. Okay, so let's just dive right in. Look at this hair. It's probably gonna do some weird shit. Oh, that was too much. But I feel like Christina Aguilera or something. Okay, anyways, back on track, Riley. I'm like, squirrel, coffee. Okay, so for the first question, sorry, I need to sip this coffee, guys. It's early. And I didn't get to bed till midnight because that's how hard I was working trying to figure everything out. And it just didn't work. So we're doing this again. That's okay. So Kyle asked, do you miss Alberta? Oh yeah, of course I miss Alberta, but I've been, so it's weird actually that this is a question that I got asked because just recently I've been really missing Alberta, and I think it's because the sun's been shining and it reminds me of Alberta because it's been like gray and rainy as all hell here in BC. But I've been really challenging that and questioning why I miss it and what is it about it that I miss, and I'm noticing that most of what I miss about it is like a lie. I'm like, oh, I miss my friends out there, which I do, but I mean, when I was living there, I didn't hang out with anybody. I was just isolating and drinking and being a crazy self-destructing person. And like, I miss the mountains. Okay, well, when was the last time that I went hiking in Alberta? Like, it was a long time ago. And I miss my family, which is a true, genuine miss. It's not like, oh, I miss the pier in Sylvan Lake in summer in Alberta, because I've been having like weird things where I'm like, I should just move back there. But in the end, at the end of the day, the reason that I'm missing it is because that's what's comfortable. Like, I lived in Alberta for 21 years, right? So of course when I moved to BC on my own with no family and or acquaintances from Alberta, then I'm like, oh my god, what am I doing? But then I realized, like, okay, I love this fresh start. So of course I miss Alberta. That's where my family is. It's where a lot of my friends are. But it's not a good place for me, and it's not a healthy place for me, and I did not flourish in that environment. And I'm not like one to say if I'll ever go back. Life is crazy and sometimes things happen, but I don't see myself going back. So we'll see. I don't know. Especially 'cause some of my family's moving out here too. Like, my dad's moving out here with my stepmom, and my sister's out here now. So it really, there's nothing there for me. Probably come back to visit though. Jenny asked, I know you've been meaning to start a YouTube channel for some time now, but what made you start it now? Was it in direct relation with your sobriety and change in lifestyle, or was it a spontaneous decision? Ava, stop chewing that. Sorry. She's like chewing on the corner of the wall, which is so weird because she's never done that. Ava, stop that. You're not wrecking the wall. Okay. I love that question because it made me reflect so much on why I did start it now. And I think the biggest, that rooster tail. Sorry guys, I'm so like, right now. I think the biggest reason why I did start it is because, you know, a month ago I went through a breakup of a 4.5-year relationship. So I spent 4.5 years of my life really focusing not on what I want and what makes me passionate and what I want to do for a living, especially because I was living in active addiction. So I was just focusing on getting through the day and like trying to act like a functioning adult and go to work, and all while drinking and self-destructing and really struggling. So it's definitely in correlation with my sobriety and change in lifestyle, especially because you know, I used to get overwhelmed by the things that made me happy and the things that I wanted to do and pursue and that made me passionate. And so that overwhelm would turn into total procrastination because I was like, where do I even start? Like, what if I'm not successful? Like, all of that fear of judgment, of failure, of not reaching my high expectations that I have for myself, and then, you know, spiraling down again because I was unsuccessful. And now I just don't have that. Like, if this makes me happy, if it is successful, then that's great. If not, then I'm still getting something out of it just by filming these videos and making these videos and, you know, conversing with people before I make them about what they want to see or what they're struggling with and all of this stuff. So it's definitely been in relation with my sobriety and change in lifestyle, especially just due to the fact that I'm doing differently now all the time. My biggest motto right now is like, just start what scares you. So randomly one day I was like, okay, today I'm just going to make a YouTube account. I'm not even going to do any more than that. But then by the time I'd made the account, I'd already started personalizing my account and planning a video. So it's really usually just getting over that initial scare or fear of starting something and then seeing that it's actually not near as big as we make it out to be. It's like seeing a dragon and then you get closer and it's a baby lizard and it's like, oh, chuck it behind the shoulder. Not really. I'm not. We love animals here on this channel, okay? But to finish answering that question, it was a very spontaneous decision, but I'm glad that I did it. Katie asked, what helps you get motivated to actually work out, and what's your fave workout for bum and legs at home? Okay, I'm going to split this one up into two. What helps me get motivated to actually work out is honestly knowing how I'm going to feel when I finish. And sometimes, you know, sometimes that is not the greatest motivator, but in the end, I've never once finished a workout or left the gym or anything feeling like, oh, why did I do that? Oh, I feel like crap, unless I was like sick, which you shouldn't work out when you're sick. But, and that takes some time to get to that point. A lot of people, they don't just dive into health and fitness and like love it and just want to work out all the time or find a passion for it. A lot of the time it's a progressive growth and a progressive, like, how am I saying this? It's like, it takes time for it to become familiar and for it to become a routine and for it to become a habit, you know? And sometimes I forget that because I'm so in it. It's a part of my lifestyle at this point. But on time, like around holidays, when sometimes I'll take like a week off and then getting back into it, it's kind of like iffy and you're feeling like you're dragging your body around. Sometimes I need to remind myself that not everybody is down to just get super amped up and do a 10-minute workout knowing it's better than nothing. Sometimes it has to start really slow. Like, I'm gonna go for a walk today. I'm gonna go for a walk just around the block. And if it ends up being more, then that's awesome. But at least you know that you had integrity and followed through on what you want to do and what is going to help you achieve your goals that you've set for yourself. And I think that's also another one of the huge things for me. Now that I'm sober, I have integrity. And it's like, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to damn well do it, because that's the type of person that I want to be. That's the type of people I want to surround myself with. And my greatest challenge for you guys is if you're sitting there mentally obsessing about whether or not you should work out or why you can't get motivated and the brain's just going crazy brain, you're like pacing back and forth through your house, oh, should I go to the gym, should I not? Then guess what? You're just wasting time with crazy brain. By the time, if you were to just start having that initial thought of, okay, do I go to the gym or do I not go to the gym? Quickly outweigh the pros and cons. I'm sure the pros will be more unless, you know, your schedule is just way too crazy, which even then, go for a walk with your kids, take your pup for a walk, go for a walk with yourself, put some music on, get jamming. But to sit there and just mentally obsess about it, that's not going to serve you anything. In fact, it's probably going to ruin your day because You're going to sit there, tell yourself all the reasons why you shouldn't, and then you're going to still feel like you should, when in reality, if you just got up and did it, you'd be a lot happier, and you'd probably be done the workout by the time, you know, you'd normally still be obsessing about whether or not you should do it. So that's my 2 cents on that one. Just start. The second that something comes into your head, just attack it before it can become that dragon, because it's really just a lizard. Or even just, you know, set a tiny intention for yourself, like, I'm going to do this workout so I can be a better mom. I'm going to do this workout so I can serve the people around me better. I'm going to do this workout so I can deal with today's stress because I don't know how to function. Because guess what? Like, laying in your bed or sitting on your couch watching Netflix all day, it's great, but it's not going to help you achieve anything. It's not going to get you farther in life. It's not going to get you feeling better about yourself, your situation, your body, your home life, your work, your job, anything. So, you know, just taking that leap of faith, having some trust and faith in yourself that you can do it. That's so important. And my favorite workout for bum and legs at home, I actually have these resistance bands with handles. Explaining workouts is super difficult, I find. It's one of the things I hate about, like, online. When people ask me to help them out with workouts, it's really something I think I need to film and show you. But I do these glute kicks with the resistance band that I love. It just gets my, like, ass just fired up. Super sore. And then another at-home one, though, that's really easy to just explain is hip thrusters. You can, like, pop your legs up on your couch. If you don't have weight, you don't need weight. You can use a literal sack of flour, throw it on the groin, pump that butt up in the air. And, you know, you can do just those all day. You can do those on commercial breaks. So, but I will be for sure filming an at-home leg and booty day, and probably a gym one too. Maybe that's what I'll do next week, is a leg and bum workout. Whoa! Whoa! Okay, anyways, my landlords are literally probably like, shut the fuck up. It's 5:30 in the morning. Okay, and Miranda asked, do you track macros and calories? No. And the reason for that is, and sometimes I struggle with people asking me, not for nutrition advice, but for, like, specific portion sizes and all of this kind of stuff. Any measurement and any tracking of calories, I don't want to say refuse to do, but I will not do, simply because of my past struggle with an eating disorder. It can happen so quickly that I become obsessive about things without even knowing it, and in reality what that is just my eating disorder kind of peeking its head out and trying to grasp the reins again. And that's just not a life or a way of living that I ever want to go back to. I'm really a huge promoter for intuitive eating, and while I understand that a lot of people cannot do that, like, I couldn't do that for a really long time, I'm at a place now where I, for the most part, can. Like, I still have days where I eat more than I should, or I don't eat enough because I portioned out what I sorry, I'm just, like, having hiccups. Okay, we're good. I, like, portion out what I should have had because I just kind of visualize it, and then an hour later I realize, oh my god, I didn't eat enough food. So it has its ups and downs, but it's really about just, like, listening to my body. And as much as I would love to track macros, and I find it so interesting and so fascinating, and for all I know I could do it and I'd be fine and there would be no consequences of that, I'm just not ever going to risk that, because the time that I was really struggling with my eating disorder, I could have told you the fat and calorie content and everything on the planet, basically. And it was just constantly going through my mind. I was obsessing about it. I didn't even hear what people were saying because I was thinking about how much, like, calories was in the gum they were chewing. It was horrible. Absolutely no way to live. And if it was a 50-50 chance, even if it was a 25-85 chance that I would be fine, but there's that tiny sliver that I could become obsessive and get crazy about food again, not worth it for me. I'd rather just live. Food is part of life. It's not something to be, you know, obsessed over or made out to be bad. And I will take risks such as intuitive eating and not tracking my calories to make sure that I don't ever go back to that place, because eating disorders are very, very sneaky, very crazy. They can pop up in the weirdest ways, and I need to always be very on guard for that. So I do not track macros and calories, but some people need to do that, right? Like, I think macros are fascinating. Calories, I'm not a big fan of. I don't think they, I don't think they portray what food is. I think they're just bullshit. I understand that, everybody needs like a calorie limit, but I'm not a big fan. And I used to, like I said, know the calories and everything, and since then I think I've kind of like turned off a switch on my brain where I've forgotten that, but I know that it can pretty easily come back. So Sarah said, tell us about your tattoos. Ooh, okay. So, I'm like itching for another one so bad right now. It's been like a year and a half or 2 years since I've gotten one, and that's like the longest I've gone without one, so I'm literally like, I want more, but, gotta pay rent. That's one of the things that I miss about being just crazy and not caring about anything, because I would just be like, I'm gonna buy whatever I want, like, I'll figure rent out. And then, I would never really figure rent out, but I'd have like new tattoos. But now as a good, sober adult, I can't do that. I gotta make sure my priorities are in check. So, anywho, enough from me. I have a peony on my shoulder, and I just got, like, most of my tattoos are just because I find them beautiful, honestly, or the quotes really mean something to me. I have a little flower here, which I love. I'm obsessed with hand tattoos. If I could get my hands just covered and then grow a new set of hands, I would. A little rose there. And then I got this one basically because it looks like a warrior cuff, and I just freaking love that. I want to get another one right here, but I'm so nervous to get another tattoo because I love my tattoo artist, and he's in Sylvan Lake, so I might need to make a trip out there because I love his style. It's already kind of like on my body. I'm so nervous to get a tattoo from someone else because if it doesn't like flow with what I'm going for, I would just be so sad. I also have a tattoo on my neck that says destroy what destroys you. It was my first tattoo. I got it when I was 17, and I was really struggling with depression and anxiety and my eating disorder, and I got it for my birthday, and it was just kind of like I actually just saw it on like Tumblr, and I was like, I like that. Not a huge fan of the font because I was just like, let's do this, and the guy was like, is this an okay font? And it was nothing like the photo I showed him, but I was just like, yeah, come on, put it on me, let's go, stab me with a needle. And then I was like, oh, this kind of looks like the Walt Disney font, but I still love it. It is what it is. It's my first, right? Like, first times aren't ever the greatest. And I have one on my ribs here, and it is a quote from The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein. If you haven't read the book, I would 800,000 times out of 10 recommend reading it. I love it so much. And it says, and she loved the little boy very much, even more than she loved herself. And it's basically a book about a tree that loves this little boy, and she gives him every part of her, like all of the apples from her branches, all of the leaves, all of her, like water from her roots, her whole trunk, like everything. And I've always just related to that book so much, not because I'm like chopping off my limbs, I'm like, have this part of me, I love you so much, but just because I really, when I care for somebody, I do give them all of me, whether it's a friend, an acquaintance, a stranger on the street. I just really try to empathize with everybody that I meet in this life and put myself in their shoes no matter what the situation, even to the point where sometimes it's a bit of a problem because I'm like feeling their emotions and taking on their stress. So sometimes I need to step back, but I love that book so much. And then for the last guy, I have a sad little cross here. Not religious, nothing. Just was an angsty teenager and had a bottle of Indian ink and a sewing needle. So I was like texting my friends on like a Sunday night or something. I was like, I'm giving myself a tattoo. And they were like, what of? And like literally 30 seconds later, I just slammed it out and I was like, it's done. So, you know, and I'm not promoting like homemade tattoos. Please do not do it. It is silly, but mine's funny. I just think it's funny. Amy asked, how is living in BC? Is rent worse / worth it? I love living in BC. It's of course a big change, especially being away from family, like I said. And as far as rent goes, I think if you're like living on your own and you want your very own space, then yeah, it's expensive. Especially the fact that minimum wage is less, taxes are higher, that kind of thing. Like gas prices are higher. But if you were to move out here with a roommate or like a spouse or a friend, like whatever, I think that then it's actually pretty manageable. My situation's a little bit different because of the breakup I was in. I got out of treatment and moved into a 2-bedroom basement suite with my ex-boyfriend, and then things didn't work out and he moved back to Alberta and I was kind of stuck here with that lease. So it's very expensive. It's it's an unmanageable situation right now. Like things are absolutely fine. I'm good where I'm at, but it's not affordable for me right now. However, like if you were to strategically plan out and look for places before moving out here, I think that it's totally doable. Plus, when I lived in Alberta, I would have to drive like 2 or 3 hours for a good hike, which is like how much money in gas a year, blah, 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 which probably isn't, I mean, actually that much, but, and then here I can like walk to my backyard and there's like 80 hike trails, so it really depends on what kind of person you are. If you're an active person that likes to get outdoors, be by the ocean, be on trails, yada, 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 then like BC is for you. Don't even doubt it. If you love, you know, hippies and you're a vegan, whatever, move to BC, because there's no like, there's a vegan. It's like, oh, there's a vegan. And like people are like sprinkling bird seeds on trails and stuff. Like how cute is that? The atmosphere here is just so different. I love it. Where do I see myself next year? That's a really hard question for me to answer just because since I'm early on in my sobriety, yesterday was my 6 months, so I'm 6 months sober. I'm actually not supposed to look too far ahead because it can be overwhelming to think like, wow, next year, that's 365 days away. That's 365 days without a drink. And then sometimes for certain people, that can become so overwhelming that it's like, I can't go that long without a drink. That's horrifying. That's so scary. So really I just focus on day-to-day goals and stuff like that. But next year I would like to see myself flourishing with my YouTube or online coaching, that kind of thing. My biggest thing that I want to accomplish by next year is to be a little bit more financially stable, and the way I'm going to do that is potentially taking on a manager's job at a cute little coffee shop that I work at. But once again, I'm not in a place where I can overwhelm myself and get super, super stressed because my sobriety comes first, my recovery comes first, and sometimes that just means, you know, just taking it one day at a time, doing the next right thing when problems come my way. And yeah, but I would definitely like to see myself next year doing better with my YouTube, really helping people, having a video up every week for the next year. That's a big goal of mine. Of course, like life gets in the way, and if I get sick or something, that might get in the way, but I hope to have my own little apartment with Ava that's more my own, because I did live in this apartment with my last boyfriend, my ex-boyfriend, or basement suite. So it's still very much my own. I've like put up my photos and decorated it with all my stuff, but it's always nice to get a fresh start. Yeah. Okay, next question. I had to stop when I refill my coffee. Oh, I'm gonna burn myself every time I film this. How cute. Can we just take a moment? Donut mug. Ah. Okay. What goals do you have set for yourself and how do you stick to them? I love talking goals because lately I've just been like with the goals. Goals that I have set for myself in the near future, because once again, I'm not really thinking long term. But as far as long-term goals do go, I'm really wanting to, within the next year, figure out what kind of career I would like to lean towards, because I would love to do online coaching and do these YouTube videos and whatnot, but it's also nice to have like something else that I'm passionate about that I know is going to bring in income. But it's really hard to decide on what I would want that to look like or what I would want that to be. So that is a goal I have set for myself, kind of play around and figure out what I could potentially go to school for. And the goals that I have set for myself now, a big goal that I have set for myself is to practice self-care, which seems so minuscule and it seems so cheesy and it seems so like cliche, like, oh, you go girl, you practice that self-care, like have a Lush bath bomb. But like literally for me, I can get very like go, 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 do it all, do all the things, crush it, be awesome, like, which is awesome. It's a great way to, you know, live life as a dedicated person and really get shit done. But at the same time, sometimes I can put myself on the back burner and I'm doing all of these things that do make me happy and that I love doing, like the gym and my YouTube videos and work and hanging out with friends. Actually, no, sorry, hanging out with friends is self-care. But like, and helping like women in the treatment center that I went to, because that's a big part of my recovery is helping others. But sometimes I can just realize like, wow, I haven't actually sat and just read a book in 9 days, when I think some self-care should be practiced every day. So little goals that I've set for myself is I put my phone on airplane mode about half an hour before I go to sleep, and I don't turn it on in the morning until I've listened to a morning motivation video, written a gratitude list, which some days I forget. I'm still trying to work on that. Had my coffee, made breakfast, because that gives me some time to just not be focusing on anybody else, not be focusing on likes on Instagram, emails from other people, work, just sources outside of myself. That's just some time where I can just be with me, think about what my intentions for the day are, think about what I want to achieve, think about the type of person I want to be that day and how I'm going to achieve that. Like, and I would recommend everybody do that because it's been monumental in me feeling more grounded the last couple weeks. It's amazing. And another goal that I have set for myself is, it kind of ties back into the integrity thing I was talking about. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And so what I've been doing is writing a to-do list every night before bed for the next day and then planning out my day, which of course life happens and sometimes it doesn't go exactly as planned, but at least I can visualize and see what I need to accomplish, what the bigger things I need to do are, and if I don't get to something, I take it from that to-do list and I put it on the next day. If I'm not getting that done, then I need to sit and question, why am I not doing this? What is like the emotion or fear attached to it? And then I need to crush it and do it, because fear drives procrastination, and fear drives anxiety, because when I'm not getting something done, then I'm feeling bad about myself and I'm feeling like a lesser person, because why am I avoiding picking up these shelves that I paid for and had ordered from a woman? Because I just don't want to drive across town. Like, okay, I'm just being lazy and I think I might be scared to go to a woman's house, which, why would I be scared of that? That's silly social anxiety that I need to challenge. Another goal that I have set for myself is to make sure I'm getting enough food in the day. I still eat a lot of food no matter what. Like, it's not ever like I'm starving myself or not getting enough nutrients in. It's just that sometimes at night I find that I'm really craving like sweet or like salty snacks, and I just want to eat all of the junk in my house, which is never really any junk food. So I'm usually eating weird stuff like Nutella and like salt or something. Or like slather that on like freaking a sweet potato, like just weird shit. And that's usually a sign that I'm either emotional eating or that I need to eat some more during the day and like up my breakfast intake and have a bigger lunch, or like implement another snack into my day, that kind of thing. So yeah, the biggest way that I stick to my goals is I visualize them. I put them on a piece of paper or on the chalkboard I have up on my wall so that when I'm walking by I can see it and I can't avoid it. I can't run away from it if it's like plastered on my wall. So I would definitely recommend that. Get a whiteboard, chalkboard, whatever you fancy, and put your goals on paper, because when it's just up in here, when I have 8 different things I want to achieve for the day, my brain makes that into 10 ways how I can get out of each one, 10 ways how I can do it. Then all of a sudden it's going 800,000 different directions, and I'm just like, you know what we're gonna do today? Netflix, because fuck this crazy brain. Any suggestions to avoid binge eating and snacking before bed? Yes, that just kind of ties into what I was just saying about when I'm not eating enough, or if I'm emotionally eating. I've always been a bad night eater, and the reason for that is because when I was struggling with bulimic tendencies in my eating disorder, I wouldn't eat enough all day, and then at night there comes a breaking point where it's like, I can't do this, I'm starving. I feel terrible, I feel low, I feel like my blood sugars are low, and then it's easy to just go like ham and eat all the ice cream, all the chips, all the crackers in the house, and that kind of thing, and that also ties in huge with emotions as well. Lots of the time, at the end of the day, that's when things start to slow down and my thoughts kind of catch up with me, or any anxiety that I haven't dealt with, that's when it can kind of rear itself up. So if I'm sitting there watching Netflix and I haven't done much that day, or I'm not doing much at that point at the end of the day, then I can start to get anxious, or things that I didn't know were bothering me can start to bother me without me even knowing it. I can just feel uncomfortable or bored, that kind of thing. And then it's easy for me to reach for a bag of chips, because it's easier to just focus on a bag of chips than it is to focus on, okay, why am I feeling uncomfortable in my skin right now? Why am I feeling uncomfortable with doing nothing? What is it in me that's bothering me, that's not allowing me to be at peace with myself tonight? Why do I need a distraction right now? So my biggest thing for that is, if you're feeling like you're really binge eating quite a bit or snacking before bed, try to notice if you're eating enough during the day. You might be lacking some nutrients, so that's the reason why you're craving other things, like iron or that kind of thing. And if you're snacking before bed, are you snacking because you're not feeling well? Are you snacking before bed because it's easier to avoid the guilt of eating junk food at bed, because then you just go to sleep, forget about it, start fresh in the morning? I rationalized my nighttime eating a lot like that. Like, well, I don't have guilt about it if I do it at night. I just go to sleep and I forget about it. Whereas if I do it at like 7 a.m. and I'm eating junk food, then all day I can get, oh, why did I do that? But it's also so negative and so toxic to attach bad feelings with certain foods, because food is just food. Chips are just chips. When it's bad to eat chips is when you're eating it to fill something. Or you're eating it like, food is food. It can be a binge, or it can be just a snack because you're craving chips. But when we attach negative mindsets and negative words to these certain foods, then I think that's when the crazy brain can kick in, and we can become obsessive, or we can start getting really hard on ourselves because we ate bad food, so we are bad. So if you're finding that you're snacking a lot too, think about what's going on for you before you reach for the bag of chips or the ice cream or the cookies or the crackers. Stop for a second. Try to really tune into your body and feel if there's some anxiety that needs to be dealt with. Maybe you're struggling with a resentment towards somebody and you haven't talked to them about it, and it's just festering inside you. And it could be something as simple as like, you didn't take out the garbage and you're feeling like crap because you knew you should have done it. And instead of doing it, you're running away from the feeling of, oh, why didn't I do that? Why didn't I do that? Because I don't want to. I don't feel good that I didn't follow through on what needs to be done, so I'm going to eat this bag of chips, and the garbage is going to sit there and not go to the curb for the morning. So really just trying to be in your body, feel what the reason is for that binge eating or that snacking. And sometimes it's as simple as you need a bigger breakfast, and sometimes it's as complicated as there might be some deep-rooted issues that need to be worked through. that rather than working through, you're coping with through food, which is never a good, it never has a good outcome. So super good question. And the last one is from my mom. Hi, Mom. I made it, Mom. I'm on YouTube. But she forces me to call her Miss Honey. So Miss Honey asked, do you think it's a fine line between crushing goals and improving yourself through health and fitness versus becoming self-absorbed and obsessed with body image? How do I make sure I'm improving myself for myself versus trying to achieve a look at all costs? Okay, I love this question because it involves so much, so I'm just going to kind of dissect it a little bit. Do I think it's a fine line between crushing goals and improving yourself through health and fitness versus becoming self-absorbed and obsessed with body image? Absolutely. When I first started working out, it was when I was first trying to sober up on my own, and I had nothing else to do, and I knew that working out made me feel good. So I took it to the extreme. That's all I did during the day. I just went to the gym. I didn't do anything else. And it was really the only way that I was validating myself. Like, oh, I went to the gym today. I'm okay. I'm an okay person. I might be falling apart inside, but I went to the gym, so I'm okay. And I think it's also important, like, I think that a lot of people that seem self-absorbed, like, I don't like the word self-absorbed, just because I think that when people come off as self-absorbed in the fitness industry or whatever, and obsessed with their body image, I think that's just a lack of self-confidence, even though it comes off as overly self-confident, because I think becoming, self-absorbed and obsessed with body image can just be, this is my opinion strictly, people looking for validation through appearance and through others when it comes to their body rather than their strengths, which is actually quite sad when you think about it. Because I think that if you're just crushing goals and improving yourself through health and fitness, then you should remain humble and trying to help others and, be proud of what you've accomplished and worked for, but not come off as arrogant or better than, because I think that that's lots of the time when people act better than, I think that that's a sign that something deep inside is not, is lacking as far as self-love goes, and needing to validate oneself through appearing better than somebody else or stronger or like they can do things better because they are beautiful kind of thing, which actually really does make me sad, because I think it's so easy for health and fitness to be twisted into this I need validation because I can work out and because I am pretty and because I can gain muscle and because I know what I'm doing in the gym, when a lot of people don't. And I think that that's very toxic, because even on my Instagram and my social media, I've started unfollowing a lot of people that give off that vibe, because that can have an effect on the followers of that account. I think can make them feel inferior because they don't have that self-confidence and they don't know what they're doing that well, rather than just being selfless. And I don't know, I'm just starting to ramble, but I hope some of that made sense. I think that the self-absorption and the obsessing over body image and health and fitness really just comes from a lack of self-confidence and low self-image, and trying to grasp some of that through validation and seeming like it's all together because of six-pack abs, or thinking that once I achieve a look I want to achieve, I will be happy, rather than focusing on why do I have a giant hole in my heart and how do I fill it with good intentions and, like, how do I fix it? Because you can't just pour stuff into a leaky boat. It's just gonna keep leaking. You gotta, like, patch up the hole, and you gotta repair it, because I don't know, I just think that sometimes there's stuff that's lacking inside of us as human beings that grow up around a lot of negative, messages in the media, on TV, from people that we were raised around or maybe saw in a grocery store once. Like all of these core messages come into our little brains as young babies, and those are the messages that fuel our lives. So if we're hearing like you have to be a size 0 to be beautiful, then when we're 30 and we're wondering why do I still think I need to be skinny and wafy to be beautiful, it's because that's something you heard when you were really young, and that's something that's continuously, you know, coming up in your mind whether you know it or not, because it's a core message, and we have to really challenge those if we want to change them. If I'm at the gym and I'm like catch myself looking at myself in the mirror a lot, I need to stop doing that, because why am I doing that? Because I want validation. I want to know that I look okay so that I feel okay, when in reality I should be there to just feel like I'm wanting to be strong, and that's something I've really gotten better at since getting out of treatment. The second part of this question, how do I make sure I'm improving myself for myself versus trying to achieve a look at all costs? And that kind of ties into what I was just saying. By challenging those core messages. If you're at the gym and you're like, oh, I look bloated today, I look gross, why am I even doing this? I'm so discouraged. Then you're doing it for the wrong reasons. You shouldn't be doing it for appearance. You should be doing it like so you can feel good, look good, be the best. Did I just say look good? That totally went against what I was just saying. Feel good, feel confident, and be the best version of yourself. Be the kindest version of yourself. Know how to deal with life stress better. Have some confidence that you are treating your body with respect and all of this stuff, and that you can go home and be a better spouse, a better wife, a better mother, a better coworker, all of this stuff. But I think the biggest thing about health and fitness is if you're going to the gym so that you can eat that day, then that's not a healthy way to be looking at health and fitness. You should work out because you love and respect your body and you want it to be strong, not so that you can feed your body, because without having that escape at the gym, it's too much of a stress to feed your body, and you feel too down about yourself. And so once again, it really goes back to just changing those core messages. And I know I've said that like 800 times by now, but you know, when something pops into your head, oh, I need to go and check out my body in the mirror because I don't know what I look like, and what if I'm bloated today? And if I'm bloated, then I'm going to cut back on carbs today, and yada, yada, yada. That's obsessive, and that's not healthy, and, you know, that's not a happy way to live. Your body's a body. Your body's the same body that carried you through your youth, that carried you through your childhood, and it deserves love and nourishment and movement and kindness. It wasn't put on this planet to look a certain way, which is really hard to grasp sometimes because all our society focuses on is appearance. So I think just thinking back to that little girl that you were, little girl or little boy, and think about when you were that age, did you grow up so that you could obsess and exhaust yourself to look a certain way? Or did you have aspirations and dreams bigger than life? And why isn't that your main focus? And why isn't being kind and sharing your toys and, you know, being kind to the neighborhood kids your focus in your adult life? I want to do good in school. I want to share my Tonka truck with that little boy who has less than me. I want to go and play because I love to play and outside is beautiful and I love the monkey bars. Like, why don't you have that same mentality as an adult? Because like all those core messages have taken over, and I need to get work done. I need to be successful at work, and I need to risk everything else in my life so that I can be financially ahead. And I don't want to share my stuff because I worked hard for my stuff, and I don't want to move my body because I've been working all day, or I need to move my body because I am super uncomfortable with myself and I need to escape my life. The best way for me to work through that kind of stuff is to think about it innocently through the eyes of a child. Like, what would my 8-year-old self want me to be doing right now? Sorry, I get really passionate about that question because there's such a fine line, and all of it is so jumbled up because all of this stuff can come off as self-absorption in health and fitness. It can be self-absorption and seeking validation, or it can be selflessness, happiness, a way to peaceful living, a way to self-love and taking care of your body, your mind, your home, your spirit. And it's all such a fine line. But the greatest challenge I can give to you is whenever negative thoughts come up, be aware of them. Once you have the awareness, it's a lot easier to stop them from taking over your life. So don't work out because you need to eat today. You need to eat today. That's what you need to do. Don't work out because you want to look an absolute certain way. Guess what? If you get some muscle, if you get the six-pack, great. Some people don't. Some people can't. Some people won't. But doesn't mean you don't deserve to feel strong. Doesn't mean you don't deserve to kick ass and feel like a warrior princess in the gym. You know? So anyway, sorry, that was a huge ramble on for that question. I hope some of it made sense. I'm really grateful for all these questions. It was super, super, super fun for me to answer them 3 times. So basically just all I'm trying to do with this YouTube channel is help people. That's all I want to do is help someone through my experience and with my experience, because it's been a really dark life up until a couple months ago, and there still has been so much beauty in my life, but you know, everything happens for a reason, and I think sometimes tragedy happens and darkness happens so that we can help others through that. And my intentions and my goals for this YouTube is not to get YouTube famous, and you know, like that'd be freaking awesome if that happened, but if I have 2 viewers and one person views my video and they say, wow, I didn't know someone out there felt the same way that I felt before, and I didn't know that someone could get over it, and I can shed a tiny bit of hope into that person's dark time, then that's all I'm here for. That's all this channel is for me. Not all, that's everything to me. Like, that's my why. That's why I get up at 5:30 a.m. That's why I push hard. That's why I grind hard. That's why I've spent 36 hours basically trying to work on this video, because I am so passionate about helping others and hopefully inspiring someone else to change their lives the way that I've had the opportunity to change mine, because a lot of people just don't. They settle for adequacy, and they settle for living a sad, lonely, anxious, obsessive life, and I don't wish that upon anybody. So thank you guys so much for sending me these questions. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it. I know it was a long video, but now we're gonna get into the fun stuff. We're gonna go make some protein chocolate chip cookie bars that are so good. And they're going to be awesome for like kids snacks, soccer snacks, work snacks, pre-workout snacks, post-workout snacks, all of the snacks. So go and get your aprons on, get your whisks ready, and I will meet you at the cooking station. Alright, time for the baking segment of this video. Can we just please take a moment to just see that I set up this whole kitchen area so that I feel like Martha Stewart? It's like a baking show. And I know the lighting's not that great, but just bear with me. So, what we're making are these protein chocolate chip cookie bars. As you can see, they are super good looking, super yummy, super delicious, and proteiny, but they don't taste proteiny, which is the best part. So what we are going to need for this recipe is some hemp hearts, some almond flour, coconut sugar, vanilla extract, some almond butter, some baking powder, some of the Quattro Salted Freaking Caramel Protein Powder by Magnum. I'm sure you can use other protein powders for this recipe. I just have not tried it. This is the one that I use for most of my baking. We're going to need some egg whites, or you can use one whole egg if you prefer. I do egg whites because it's more protein. And that is everything. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take an 8x8 baking pan. Mine is silicone, which is really nice because it's super easy for like chopping and taking stuff out, and it's actually non-stick, but better safe than sorry, so I always put a little bit of coconut oil in it to coat it anyways. So I melted a little bit of coconut oil, just pop it in the microwave for 30-45 seconds, and we are just going to grease our baking sheet. I don't currently have one of those cute little grease thingies that you stir butter and stuff with. So I'm just using a paper towel, super ghetto. It works. So now that we've greased up our pan, woohoo, good to go. We are just going to throw that right there because we don't have time for the garbage right now. You're also going to want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. So mine's already preheating. We got that going. It should be ready soon. So the first thing we're going to do, take a measuring cup that can be microwaved, or you can do this slowly on the stove. I'm just kind of using the microwave to utilize time for this video because I know it's already a pretty long video. So we're going to do a 1/4 cup of coconut oil. My coconut oil is super hard, so I gotta kind of scrape that in. So you're gonna take a 1/4 cup of coconut oil, and you are going to put that into your microwavable measuring cup. Awesome, got that. Going to scrape that in here. Put a little bit more for the moisture. All right, awesome. Oh God, I'm gonna get oil everywhere. All right, so you got your 1/4 cup coconut oil, boom. Now we are going to take the almond butter, and we are going to put a 1/2 cup of almond butter into the same mixture as the coconut oil. 1/2 cup. I'm obsessed with almond butter. If I could eat it all day, every day, I would. But that is not a balanced diet, so. Oh no, I'm running low. I'm so sad. Probably because I've filmed this before. I'm gonna have chocolate chip cookies for days. I'll bring some to work today. Get my coworkers to love me. All right, so you're just gonna put that 1/2 cup in with the coconut oil that we've already measured out and put into our measuring cup. Awesome. Probably will lick that clean later. So now I'm just going to pop that in the microwave for about 45 seconds or until it's nice and melted and creamy. All right, and while we wait for that guy, we are going to mix in the rest of our ingredients. So we're going to put 3/4 of a cup of coconut sugar. And guys, I'm just going to say this before I forget. Please buy these ingredients at Costco since we're using like organic and, you know, kind of healthier options like the almond flour, hemp hearts, coconut sugar, that kind of thing. You're going to pay like double or triple at a grocery store. So I got all of these ingredients at Costco, including the egg whites, because even for this little guy, it's usually like $5-6 bucks at the grocery store. But you get 3 for $7. For the almond flour, that can be really expensive at the grocery store. Usually a bag, like 1/3 of the size of this, is like $16, and I paid $16 for this huge bag, and it'll last me a while, so. And our stuff is done. Just gonna put it in for another 15 seconds. So we got our 3/4 cup of coconut sugar. Now we're gonna put 1/4 cup of egg whites, or 1 whole egg. Quarter cup. And I'm just gonna set this aside for a minute while we finish up with the rest of our mixture, and we're just gonna add a tablespoon of vanilla. Super simple. One tablespoon of vanilla. Oh, perfect. I had exactly enough left for this recipe. And now I'm just going to stir this up all together because the oil kind of separates, of course. So just stir that almond butter and coconut oil. Oh my god, it smells so good, you guys. I could like drink this. It'd be a great way to clog the arteries. It's making me hungry. So it should be quite runny. And now we're going to stir this runny almond butter coconut oil mixture in with our coconut sugar mixture. Just want to scrape that clean. Get all the good stuff out of there. And if you try this recipe and you make any improvements or you want to try something else in it, shoot me a message and we will do that. So grab your whisk. Mine is purple. And we're just going to whisk it all together. So it's going to form almost what it looks like when you cream brown sugar and butter together. Just a runny, brown, kind of grainy mixture. Just make sure there's no clumps of coconut sugar in there because that stuff does tend to clump. Mine's also pretty old because you don't go through a Costco-sized bag when you're on your own very quickly. Okay. Get your arm workout in. Perfect. So now what I'm going to add to that mixture is, you can actually ditch the whisk because we're not going to use it anymore. I'm going to add 2 scoops of the Quattro protein powder in the flavor salted fruity caramel. To that mixture, I'm going to add 1 cup of almond flour, and I love almond flour. If you like cornbread and like kind of that gritty cornmeal texture, then you'll love almond flour. It's one of my favorite things to bake with just because I secretly love that. Not so secretly. And I just need to grab my salt that I totally forgot about. Okay. And if you're supposed to use 1/4 cup, I'm just going to crack some in there because I actually like mine extra salty. I find it enhances the chocolatey flavor of it a little bit. And I'm actually going to put more salt on top as well. So, last thing we're going to do, make some room for one. Is anybody else like the messiest cooker? Like, I love cooking. I could cook all day, every day. But I want I want a husband or something that will just let me cook and he'll clean. Like, that would be the best thing. So, the star of the show, I'm using 90% cacao Lindt chocolate, but you can use just normal chocolate chips if you want. I'm just using this because it's the healthier option, and I actually just love dark chocolate. So I'm going to use 3 or 4 squares. I'm going to do 4 because extra chocolatey. And I'm going to chop that up. But you don't need to chop it up really fine. You still want to have like some good chunks of chocolate. And one thing I love about this recipe is it seems like it's a lot, but it's like the quickest thing in the world to make, and it makes such a awesome size, like so many bars. They're super filling. So now I have chopped my chocolate up. I'm going to throw that into the mixture. And we're just gonna mix it all up. Yeah. These are gonna be beautiful, guys. So it's gonna start forming more of a dough, almost like a cookie dough. Make sure you scrape the edges, get all of it in there. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm gonna have bars for days. You can always double or triple the recipe if you want. But I would suggest just making this first and seeing if you like them, which I don't doubt that you will. All right. So now we have our dough and it's nice and firm. You can shake it, put it upside down. Ooh, blizzard trick. Ooh. Woo! I don't actually want to do it. Could you imagine if it just plopped? I would be devastated. So now we're going to put that into our pan. And plop. And plop. Really scrape it all out. And plop. So that is all of it. And it's going to seem like it's really thin while you're pressing it down, but it does rise. So I'm just going to take a tiny bit of coconut oil and grease my hands, because otherwise it's pretty sticky and it takes a while. So, oh God, that was a lot. Okay. So now you're just going to take that, you're going to press it down evenly into the pan. Oh, I love these silicone pans. They're so much handier than normal ones. I can just like totally mangle this thing and it doesn't matter. I can feel my hair doing weird things right now. Okay, it doesn't really matter. All right, so now we have them pressed into the pan. I am going to wipe my hands quick because I am covered in sickness. Now I'm going to take a handful of hem parts. I'm going to sprinkle them on top for extra protein and goodness. I love hem parts. They're such a good, easy way to add protein and omega-3s and all the good stuff to your meal. So sprinkle that on. Boom. I'm going to crack a little bit more salt on here because I find that it makes it way yummier. Using salted caramel protein, may as well go all in or all out. So the end result is that guy. I'm going to pop them into the oven for 20 minutes. And now we're going to do a 10-second tidy. All right, and there you have it. Once they pop out of the oven, make sure you let them cool for 10 to 20 minutes before you cut into them. Otherwise, it's going to be a mess. It's going to get all over your knife. They're going to get sticky, ugly, whatever. But if you wait to let them cool, they will form a perfect little square like that. Super easy to store. I'm not sure if you can freeze them. If you happen to try it, let me know. I might end up trying it because now I have like 25 million of these things, but whatever. At least they're delicious. I won't get sick of them. So if you give it a try and you have any tweaks to the recipe that you make that are super awesome, let me know. If you have any suggestions for things you'd like to see, any comments, any constructive feedback, please let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to those who sent me questions. Thank you to those who took the time out of their day to watch this super long video. I know it was longer than usual. That Q&A kind of got me. Next week we're going to be doing a leg and booty circuit at home, so all you ladies and gents can get that super fine ass. And yeah, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share. If you didn't like it, give me a thumbs down. It doesn't matter. I want to know what I can do to improve. I want to know your honest opinion of my channel and what I'm doing here. Not that I'm going to let, you know, negativity get me down at all, but I do want to know what everybody's opinion is. So enjoy, have an amazing week, crush some goals, try to practice visualizing what it is you want to achieve, what it is you want to accomplish, what it is you want to be for the week ahead. Put it on paper. Really make sure that you set the intention of achieving it, you know, having that integrity, honoring yourself enough to do what needs to be done and become successful. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Have an amazing week. And remember to like, comment, subscribe, share, message me.